Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen and welcome to Ignite. Let's go straight to the scoreboard. Charlotte, you are up to 58 points and Nathan close behind on 56. I don't know if you other guys can catch up, but you can still get points and they will be prizes when we get back together again in the den. So come on and see what points you can get. You can get points for joining in the games. When we meet on Jitsi on a Wednesday. We had great fun this week. That's where these guys got their points from. And it was lovely to have Sue joining us from the beach. What a great idea. See, you don't have to join us from your home. You could join us from the beach, from the garden, from a field. What inventive places could you come along from? Another way you can get points is to tell me the crazy facts that I have hidden in our Bible quotes, in our Bible reading group. So, this week there are two facts and here are the clues. So one is that one of the facts is about turkeys. Turkeys seem to come up quite a lot. Maybe turkeys are just crazy. I don't know. The other crazy fact is about the American flag. So if you can let me know what they are, you will get points on the board. Another way to get points is to give us some ideas of things for people to do. It's been a long time. We're going back to some of the old ideas, but the old ones are great too. And the main idea, because the weather's been so good, is getting outside. Get outside, guys. What imaginative things can you do outside? What do you like to do? Do you like to walk? Are you going to the beach? One of our guys really loves biking. Get out and use your bikes. What fantastic weather for doing that. The other way to get points is to let me know how you can be helping others at the moment. And the way the guys were thinking this week was to help in your own homes or in the garden. Is there anything you can be doing? Are your parents sorting things out? Are they doing any DIY you can help with? Is there gardening that needs doing? Just lend a helping hand. What a great idea. So this week's worship song, do you know sometimes you just stick a playlist on and sort of an old song comes up and it's just the one that grips you, and that is what happened to me this week. So the worship song this week is Brandon Lake's This Is a Move. Not a particularly new song, but I just absolutely love it, and what we really need is a move of God at the moment, isn't it? Do you know, our God is God of 100%. This COVID-19 situation looks like it's beginning to get a bit better, certainly in this country, but we need to see 100%, and God will do that. We need to see a move of God. So we're going to move into part 3 of our little video about growing up. So this week I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to share some ideas and some thoughts about confidence, which is something God's been speaking to me about certainly over the last few weeks. So we are going to think about, where does your confidence come from? Who is your confidence in? And does it depend on your circumstances? See you next week, guys. Bye. Philippians 4:12-13 from the Passion Version says, I know what it means to lack, and I know what it means to experience overwhelming abundance. For I'm trained in the secret of overcoming all things, whether in fullness or in hunger. And I find that the strength of Christ's explosive power infuses me to conquer every difficulty. Wow, what a verse is that? I'm going to read it again. I know what it means to lack, and I know what it means to experience overwhelming abundance. For I'm trained in the secret of overcoming all things, whether in fullness or in hunger. And I find that the strength of Christ's explosive power infuses me to conquer every difficulty. That was Paul writing that. He'd grown up in God. He didn't even start growing up spiritually until he was, well into his adult life. And that's fine. We're growing spiritually all the time. What an amazing thing to write. That is growing up. When we can begin to experience some of that, we're growing. And it's something I want to continue to do. When we can know what it means to lack and know what it means to experience overwhelming abundance and be happy in both places, because we can rely on God. What an amazing thing that is. That is growing spiritually, guys. That is having faith that isn't hindered by any circumstance that we walk into. That's a place I would like to grow into. Just what would that look like if we had that faith? We go into circumstances, difficult times in our lives. We know they all happen. And we can trust God. And we don't know how long it's going to take him to give us our answers or to bring us through that time. We don't know what his answers are going to look like. But can we trust him, stick in with him, and know that with him we're going to come through and out the other side? That's where we're at right now with COVID-19, isn't it? We've come a long way already, but we're still not there. We're not out of this situation. We have to keep trusting God. He is going to bring us out of this situation. And we're not changed by it. We're not affected by it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we're going through. We just keep trusting him. In that verse, it says, I'm trained in the secret of overcoming all things. That's growing, isn't it? That's us growing up in him. We're trained. Our confidence needs to be in God. It does not need to be in us. That's something I don't struggle with too much because I haven't had great self-esteem at time in my lives. And so it's sort of easier for me to say, I can't ever do that. It's got to be God. And I know, so for me, that's something that I don't find too difficult, but it isn't easy for everybody. It's not easy for me in every situation to do that either. But it is an amazing place to be in when you can just trust him so much that you know that it's not you. Peter struggled with that. Do you remember at the Passover meal, right before the cross, Jesus spoke to Peter and he told Peter that it was going to deny him. And Peter said, no, not me. Not me. I would never, ever deny you. Not a chance. And then within a couple of hours, he denied Jesus 3 times. And then the rooster crows and he realizes what he's done. But why did he do that? Why did he do it? Well, maybe one of the reasons is because when Jesus said to him it was going to happen, he was very confident in himself that he wouldn't do it. I won't do it, he said. But that confidence was in himself and not in God. We have to be in a place, we need to grow to a place where we can be totally confident in God, whatever situation we're in. So then, after Jesus died and he's risen from the dead and he comes back, he comes and he meets with Peter especially. And 3 times he says to him, do you love me? And he takes him through this whole process of forgiveness. But what Peter learns there and then is that where he needs to have his confidence is not in himself, but in God. He needs to love God and he needs to trust God and trust Jesus. He needs to trust in God's grace. And from that moment on, Jesus says to him, go feed my lambs. And that's what he does. Not because he thinks he can do it himself, because he knows that God in him and God will be working in him as he does it. And of course, they went and they waited for Pentecost and they had the Holy Spirit. And then they went. They had this Holy Spirit in them. And for us to be growing spiritually, we need to not be confident in ourselves. Now, we have all got amazing gifts and talents that God has given us, but we shouldn't be confident in those things. We're not going to impress God with the amazing things that we can do out of ourselves. Let's face it, he gave us all those gifts and talents in the first place. All those things came from God. We need to be able to just have our confidence in God. John 5:34 in the Passion Translation says, I have no need to be validated by men, but I'm saying these things so that you will believe and be rescued. And then a bit later on in verse 41, it says, I do not accept the honour that comes from men. This is another way for us to be growing spiritually, for us to be growing up. Do you know, we all need people who come and say, wow, great job. Fantastic, you did really well there. that's brilliant. But there's some sort of a balance that has to go on where our confidence isn't in us, it's definitely in God, and it's our confidence also is not in what other people say about us. Our confidence still needs to be in God. It's God who's done those things through us. It is a hard balance. I'm not saying don't ever compliment people. Please do, because lots of people need that. Everybody needs it. But we still have to remember where our confidence comes from. We still have to remember where all this is coming from. And it's not, our confidence isn't coming from what other people say to us. When you get a compliment, what do? If our confidence then is in God, where are we going? What are we saying? If someone says, oh, wow, great job. Well, do you know what you do? This was something that I got out of a Bill Johnson preach a couple of years ago because I was rubbish at accepting compliments. I never knew what to say. And he said, do you know what he says? He says, just say thanks and stop right there. Just say thanks. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just the right thing to do. Just say thanks. And then sometime afterward, go away and just have a time with God and just say, thanks, God. I did that because you did that in me. And that's you and him. And that is fantastic. And that's the way you need to go about it. Do you know what? You are awesome, Ignite. But everything that you do comes from God. So what if people go the other way? So we can either get compliments, but sometimes we're slated. What if people don't say very nice stuff about us? Well, it's the same situation, isn't it? Our confidence remains in God. We're not believing and putting our confidence in what other people are saying about us. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be brought down and have difficult times and difficult days because of what people have said. What we need to do in those situations is go to God, process a bit, spend some time with him and give him the rubbish, give him the stuff and let him deal with it. Do you know, if we can do this on like a daily basis, we can do this every time this happens to us, then we are going to grow enormously because we're just putting our confidence in him and not in ourselves. And we're giving him the rubbish. We're giving him the stuff that's bringing us down and just saying, right, God, this has happened, but I'm giving this to you. And I know that you can deal with this. And if I need to do something in this, then, you know, he'll tell you if you need to do something. But just take it to him and give it to him and let him deal with it. So we don't need to be confident in ourselves. And we don't need to be confident in what other people say about us. We just need our confidence in God. And that comes from our relationship with him. And that comes from growing that relationship. More ways in which we can grow spiritually, more ways in which we can grow up. When we have confidence in God, we have a backbone. I know I'm a work in progress. Definitely in this whole area, I'm completely a work in progress. But my dream, what I would love to do, the place I should be in, is to be able to have the confidence to go anywhere, wherever it is, wherever God takes me, whatever he leads me into, and know that I know that it's going to be okay because I'm trusting God in that place. I'm trusting him to take me through something. I'm trusting him where he takes me and have that confidence. What would that look like to you if you had that so much confidence and so much faith in God that wherever you were still the same? It didn't affect you. You were fine because you were trusting God to see you through it. That's growing up spiritually, guys. And I haven't got there yet, but you can certainly start the journey, same as I have. So, a couple of things to say before I finish. And I think I'm going to finish with this verse. And I just want to pray this over you guys, I think. There's another great verse about growing up. And and this is my prayer for you. This is Philippians 1:9 from the Passion version of the Bible. Ignite, I continue to pray for you, for your love to grow and increase beyond measure, bringing you into the rich revelation of spiritual insight in all things. I'm praying that your love for God, your relationship with him, will grow and grow and grow throughout your entire lives. And I can't wait to hear and to see the revelation that you guys all get from him and the testimonies that you have as your lives go on. Okay, guys, I'm going to go now. What a great time we have had together. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.